Hey guys, good evening. Guys, if you are able to see my screen, just type S in the chat box so that we can get started. Okay, thanks for the confirmation, guys. So today we are going to continue with the Java concepts that are remaining for us. In the last session, I covered single dimensional arrays and two dimensional arrays, and some portion of arrays is left out. I told on that day that I'll be covering something known as wrapper classes, object class, and remaining portions of arrays and string handling mechanism as part of the next session, that is today's session. I'm going to do that now. Okay, just let's wait. Let me open the notes first. Just give me a second. I'll be opening the notes first. Okay, I'll copy and open the notes. And also meanwhile, I'll go to the WhatsApp and just mention for everyone that the session has started. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. So the topic here is all about the arrays that I covered in the last session. I covered the single dimensional arrays and two dimensional arrays for you in the last session. I told you three dimensional arrays are not required for Selenium Java automation, but I'll be covering this as part of, the upcoming days when we are completed with our 50 days program. As part of the additional stuff, I'll be covering the three dimensional arrays for you. So, but for Selenium automation, it is not required. Now, the remaining topics we have are this one, other topics on arrays. We have other topics of arrays. Okay, in order to understand this particular topic, guys, you have to first understand about wrapper classes and primitive data types. Okay, this is a topic that I have to cover first before covering this particular topics. Okay, so the topic name is wrapper classes and primitive data types. Everyone type in the chat box, wrapper classes and primitive data types. Wrapper classes and primitive data types. Everyone type wrapper classes and primitive data types in the chat box. I already have explained you what are primitive data types. There are 8 primitive data types in Java. Can anyone remember what are the different primitive data types we have in Java? Can anyone remember different primitive data types we have in Java? The general data types, which are non-object oriented data types that we have in Java, what are they? Anyone can write in the chat box the list of primitive data types we have in Java. We say that yes, int, float, double, boolean, char, all these are the primitive data types. We say that Java is an object oriented programming language. We say Java is an object oriented programming language, we generally say. Okay, but if I ask you a question, is Java 100% object oriented? If I ask you this question, anyone will say that Java is an object oriented programming language. But if I ask you a question like, is Java 100% object oriented? What should be your answer? The answer is no, guys. What is the reason? Why it is no? What is the reason behind Java not being an 100% object oriented programming language? What is causing Java to be not 100% object oriented language? Even though it is an object oriented, it's not 100%. That's correct. But what is the reason? Because of what Java is not 100% object oriented programming language? Because of what? Anyone know the answer? Because of what Java is not a 100% object oriented programming language? Anyone know the answer? Guys, anyone know the answer? Why Java is not 100% object oriented programming language? The answer is primitive data types. In Java, we have something known as primitive data types, which are non-object oriented. All these primitive data types are non-object oriented. Okay, they are non-object oriented. So Java is not a 100% object-oriented programming language because of the primitive data types which are non-object oriented. Okay. So what are these primitive data types we have which are non-object oriented in Java? They are nothing but byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. Okay. These are the different primitive data types we have in Java, which are non-object oriented type. Okay. These are non-object oriented type. They are not object oriented, not object oriented. Okay. They don't have any class or some kind of stuff is not there. Okay. Surrounding these concepts. Why Java has made this particular concept non-object oriented? Because for each and every small thing, if you use object oriented, it will consume memory and impact of performance. So in the olden days, when the computer memory is very important and the performance of the programs is very important, Java has taken a decision of making these primitive data types, which are like bricks for building a building. Okay, if you want to construct a building which is very strong, we initially need the bricks, right? The small bricks we have to, organize so that it will form a building, right? That small bricks, if they are consuming a lot of memory or performance, if they are consuming performance, right? The small bricks, if they are consuming the performance, etc., and require a lot of memory, the programming may not be possible in the olden days. But nowadays, it's okay, guys. It's okay because if you can see the other programming languages like Python, etc., right? Okay, there this kind of primitive data types, non-object oriented stuff is not there. Okay, non-object oriented stuff is not there. Even these primitive data types will act like object oriented types. Okay, there. Okay, but coming to Java, they kept it like this because there is no harm in having this kind of primitive data types still non-object oriented, so that still they save the memory and they will improve the performance of the programs. Okay, there is no harm in having them, even though our computer machines these days have a lot of capability of providing such kind of memory and performance, but still Java guys have left them non-object oriented because there is no harm in keeping them non-object oriented. Still they are going to save the memory to some extent. Okay, fine. So that's the reason Java is not a 100% object oriented programming language. Despite of being a object oriented programming language, Java is not 100% object oriented language. Instead, it's a partial object oriented language because of a concept known as primitive data types, which are non-object oriented. Okay, and there may be some situations where these primitive data types need to work with the object oriented way. Will that be there or not, guys? What do you say? There may be some situations where these values that you store into the variables which are declared with these primitive data types may have to work with object oriented way. They have to work. So to overcome that problem, Java has come with a solution known as what? What is the solution? To overcome this problem, Java has come with a solution to use these primitive data types as object-oriented types. In order to use these primitive data types as object-oriented types, Java has come with a solution known as wrapper classes. Wrapper classes, guys, okay? Java has come with a concept known as wrapper classes, using which we can convert the primitive data types or use the primitive data types as object-oriented types. So what are these wrapper classes? For example, for this byte data type, we have associated wrapper class as byte. These are wrapper class. For short data type, we have short as a wrapper class. For int, we have integer. Everyone type in the chat box. For int, what is a wrapper class we have? For byte, for short, but for int, what is there? Integer is there. It's not int, it is integer. For long, we have long. For long, we have long. For float, we have float. For double, we have double. The first letter is capital because classes in Java generally follow this upper camel case notation, right? Naming convention. So, but primitive data types are completely in lower case. They are like keywords in Java. They are nothing. Primitive data types are nothing but the keywords in Java. But wrapper classes are the classes in Java. So the first letter is in uppercase, double. For char, we have character. Everyone type in the chat box. For int, we have integer. For char, we have character. The full letters we have to give. For byte, byte, short, short only, long, long only, float, float only, double, double only. But for int, it is integer. For char, it is character. Remaining all are same, except that first letter will be capital. For boolean, boolean only. Okay. These two will look somewhat different, integer and character. For int primitive data type, integer is a wrapper class. For char data type, character is the wrapper class. So these are the object oriented things, guys. These are the object oriented classes versions of the primitive data types. So I'm going to explain one program here. Just see here what I'm trying to explain here. I'll just close this stuff. The previous program, this is. Just close this stuff. Close all. Done. I'll go to this Java, and here I'll create a new package, guys. I'll just create a new package to demonstrate about the wrapper classes. I'm going to create a new package. I'll just name this package as wrapper classes. Wrapper classes. Okay. Wrapper classes pack or wrapper classes is fine. Okay. Inside this wrapper classes, I'm going to create a class. I'll just name this class as sample. With main method, I'm going to create. Sample with main method, I'm going to create. Okay. Inside the main method, okay, I'm going to create a class. And inside the class, I'm going to create a main method. Inside the main method, I'm going to create a data type int a is equal to 5. Okay. Here, a is declared with int primitive data type. A is declared with int primitive data type. Now, I'm going to create a wrapper class and say integer b is equal to 10. You see, in place of using int, you are using integer. If I print out system.out.println a, what will be printed in the output? 5 will be printed in the output. If I say system.out.println b, what will be printed in the output? Can anyone say what will be printed in the output? If I print b here it is a object oriented class type which is declaring. So there is some difference. A is a primitive data type declared variable, whereas b is an object reference. Here a is a variable, guys. Here a is a variable. But can you say b is a variable? Can you say b is a variable? Guys, can you say b is a variable? Is b is a variable here which is declared with a class? Can you call the b as a variable? If a is a variable, then b is what, guys? Then if you're declaring that something with a class name, then that becomes what? B is an what? Object reference. Object reference. B is an object reference, guys. Okay. B is an object reference. Earlier we used to create this. Okay. Now in the latest version, it's not there, but earlier we used to create like this. Integer C is equal to new integer of 10. We used to write like this. Earlier we used to write like this, but this kind of methodology got deprecated. This way of creating the object for the integer class and assigning some value got deprecated. It's no more in, okay? It's got deprecated, guys. Since version 9 onwards, it got deprecated, okay? The constructor integer has been deprecated since version 9 and marked for removal. Going ahead, we have to write like this only, okay? Instead of creating the object and all those stuff, right? It's nothing but internally it is taking care of creating an object and assigning this object value 10. Okay, in the so this is what is the stuff. Now when you print b, what will be printed then? When you print b, what will be printed? When you print the object reference, what will be printed? Yes, 10 only will be printed. There's no much difference in this case. 10 will be printed. Java application, run as Java application. You can see that 5 and 10 will be printed in the output. 5 and 10 will be printed in the output. 5 and 10 will be printed in the output, guys. Fine. Now not only that, if I say a dot, are you getting any suggestions here? When I say a dot, are you getting from Eclipse ID? Are you getting any intelligent suggestions like some predefined variables and methods are you getting? Because a is a variable. How can you get some predefined variables and methods out of a variable? That's not correct, right? This is not possible. A dot is not possible. What about b? B dot, am I getting anything here? Am I getting some predefined methods and variables here? Yes. Why? Because B is a object reference. Using the object reference of a particular class, you can call the predefined methods. For example, you can say get class. Like there are many methods you can call, guys. Okay. this proves that B is an object reference, A is a variable only. Okay, a variable, a kind of name which is declared with primitive data type is called a variable. A kind of something, a kind of name which is declared with the integer wrapper class is called as object reference. With the object reference, you can access the predefined methods and variables. With variable, you cannot access any predefined variables and methods. Okay, so this is what is the stuff. Now, this is not the just the thing that you have to learn here. Okay, this is not the things that you have to learn. Even more things are there. So here, I'll create one more class and say sample2 here, sample2 here. With main method, I'm going to create. With main method, I'm going to create. Inside this, I'm going to create a variable. Int a is equal to 5. Now integer b is equal to a. Can I say like this? Can I assign the value that is stored into the variable a into the variable variable a into the object reference b, which is declared with integer wrapper class? Is it possible? Yes or no? Yes, it is possible. And this is called as Autoboxing. Everyone type in the chat box the terminology. It's called as Autoboxing. This is called as Autoboxing. Automatically converting the primitive data type into the wrapper class type is called as Autoboxing. It's called as Autoboxing. Everyone type in the chat box. This kind of thing is called as Autoboxing. Okay, this is called as Autoboxing, guys. Now, if I say int c is equal to b, is this okay? Can I assign the object reference to a variable which is declared with int primitive data type? Yes, that is also possible. And this is called as auto unboxing. Auto unboxing. If someone asks you in the interviews like what is auto unboxing, it's very simple, guys. Assigning the variable which is declared with some primitive data type or some integer value to a particular integer wrapper class type. Okay, object reference of the integer wrapper class is type is called as autoboxing, and doing the reverse thing is called as auto unboxing. Doing the reverse thing is known as assigning the object reference of a wrapper class to the variable of the primitive data type is called as auto unboxing. Automatically it will box, automatically it will unbox. In all these cases, if I print system.out.println A or system.out.println B or system.out.println C, okay, what value will be printed, guys? ABC. What will be printed for ABC? All 5s will be printed. All the things are 5 only. 5 is being transferred from here to here, here to here, here to here. Okay, all 3 5s will be printed, guys. This is auto boxing and auto unboxing. So whenever you have to use a variable which is declared with a primitive data type as an object oriented type, you can assign the variable to that particular object reference of the wrapper class. It will auto box, and then you can use this particular thing as a B. Instead of using a in your object oriented programming, you can use B for your purpose. Okay. Again, when you have to use this object oriented type as a normal primitive data type, you can assign that object reference to the variable of the primitive data type, and you can use that as a primitive data type also. Whenever you want, you can go to the object oriented type. Whenever you want to come back, you can come back to the primitive data type. This kind of facility is provided in Java, guys. Even though Java is not a 100% object oriented programming language, we have something kind of primitive data types in Java. We have primitive data types in Java. These primitive data types, okay, these primitive data types can be converted into the wrapper class types, object-oriented types whenever needed in the programs. And this object-oriented types can be converted back to the primitive data types whenever needed back in the program. Okay, this kind of facility is there. Don't think behind this. Don't think behind this, because this much behind this is not useful in Selenium Java automation. Okay, if we have to cover this wrapper classes in detail and all, we can do that in our additional sessions. But for now, this much of knowledge is more than enough for the wrapper classes. Okay. Now I'm demonstrating other wrapper classes here. Not only this integer wrapper class, we have different wrapper class types, right? In the sample 3, I'm going to demonstrate the other wrapper classes. Click on finish. I'm going to demonstrate the different wrapper classes here for you. The thing is integer a is equal to 5. Here auto boxing is happening or not? Integer a is equal to 5. This primitive data type value, integer value, is getting boxed into the object oriented type. So this is also auto boxing only. Example of auto boxing only. Integer byte. I'll start with byte otherwise. Byte a is equal to 5. Short b is equal to 55. Integer C is equal to 555. Just giving some random values, that's okay. 555, 555, and then integer D is equal to, long D is equal to, long D is equal to 5555, that's okay. Okay, long, this is long. Then float E is equal to 12.34. Can I write like this? Here we have to give F. Here we have to give D. L. L. Okay, here we have to give L. Okay, that's the thing. Then double F is equal to 12.34. 12.34 or whatever it is. Okay, 12.123 or something. Here you can give capital D or lowercase. This is optional anyhow, whether you provide or not. Then character C is equal to yes. Then boolean. Sorry, here I have to give G otherwise. Boolean H is equal to, okay, H is equal to true. Boolean H is equal to true, and print out all this. Like this, we can, in place of the primitive data types, you can use object-oriented wrapper class types, and you can use this. You can print this object references. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are all the object references. C, system.out.println, system.out.println, system.out.println D, system.out.println, system.out.println E, system.out.println F, system.out.println G, system.out.println H. Okay, like this we can print it out. Right click, run as Java application, and observe that all the values 5, 55, 555, all fives. Okay, all these values got printed. Okay, fine. This is how we can use the different wrapper classes in Java. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is called as object class. Everyone type in the chat box object class. The next topic is object class. What is the next topic that I'm going to cover? That is nothing but object class, guys. Everyone type in the chat box object class. Object class is the next topic that I'm going to cover. Create a new package and just say object class here. Object class is the parent class of all the classes in Java. What is object class? What is object class, guys? The topic is object class. Object class is a parent class, of all the classes in Java. Of all the classes in Java, what is the parent class of all the classes? Whether it is a direct parent or grandparent of all the classes in Java is object class, guys. Object class is a parent or grandparent class of all the classes we have in Java. How can I prove you that? I'll take you to the documentation of Java, guys. I'll take you to the documentation of Java. Java JDK 21 API documentation. Any version you can take and go to the documentation of Java and search for any class. What are the different classes you remember? Tell me, guys. Any classes string is one of the predefined class in Java. String is one of the predefined class in Java. If you see the string class, what is the parent of the string class? Object class. Okay, parent of the string class is object class. Go with any classes, guys. Go with any classes. Okay, string is one of the class. Okay, then array index, out of bounds. Remember this, in previous session I covered this exception. This array index out of bounds exception is also a predefined class in Java, guys. Array index out of bounds exception, which comes to you as a runtime error when you run when you try to store more than the required number of size of the elements in the array, will come to you as a runtime error. Array index out of bounds exception. If you see this array index out of bounds exception, its parent is index out of bounds exception class, its parent is runtime exception, its parent is exception, its parent is throwable. On the top of the throwable, what is there? Object class again. Object class is either the parent class or grandparent class of all the classes. That is direct parent or indirect parent of all the classes in Java. Take any other classes. Let's say system class. System.out.println we write, right? System is one of the predefined classes we have in Java. To the system class also, what is the parent class? Object class. Okay. So I'll just go with another class known as file predefined class. There is a class known as file, java.io.file. File is one of the predefined classes in Java. And to this file predefined class, who is the parent class? Object class is the parent class. No matter which class you take in Java, okay? No matter which classes you take in Java, for all the classes, object class is a parent class or grandparent class. So as part of inheritance, if you remember, I covered that. Can we create an object for the child class and assign to the variable of the parent class? Is it possible in Java, guys? Tell me. Can we create an object for the child class and assign to the variable of the parent class? Yes, right? So here, just see here what I'm trying to do. I'm going to create a class. For every class, object class is a parent class. Okay? Object class demo, I'll say. For every class, object class is a parent class. So here, I'm going to create an object for the some class and assign to the variable of the. So I cannot do like this nowadays, because of if I'm using the older implementation, I can do that. If I say integer, new integer, okay, if I say 10, this is possible in the older version of Java, guys. So I'll right click on this project, go to the properties, go to the Java compiler. Here, which version of Java compiler? It's using the latest version. I'll take 1.8, let's say. In the 1.8 version of the Java, you see still it is deprecated, it's showing. Deprecated has been deprecated, marked for removal. Okay, anyhow, it's deprecated, but we can still use. We can store this into the obj1. This is okay. If I say system.out.println obj1, let's see what will be printed. Even though it's deprecated, I can store, guys. Okay. Now I'll write one more thing like new string of Arun Moturi. Like this, I'll write. And here, this is an object for the string class. I'm storing that object into the object reference of the parent or grandparent class known as, which is the root class of all the classes in Java. Object is a root class, parent or grandparent class. System.out.println obj2. You see, no problem at all. Right click, run as Java application. You see, it got printed. If I say new file of, I'll simply say abc.txt file. Import this in double quotes. I have to write this. I'm creating an object for the file class and importing this file class from java.io package. Can I store that into the object? Yes, I can store that. System.out.println obj3. Right? Run the code. The file. What will be printed for the file? abc.txt file got printed. Okay. Fine. The path of the file got printed. Okay. So now I'm going to write some code like this. Okay. Byte a is equal to 5. Then short b is equal to 10. Then integer c is equal to 555. Long d is equal to 5555. Then float e is equal to, here long L should be there, float 12.34 f. Then double f is equal to 12.34. That's it. Then character g is equal to character g is equal to character g is equal to yes. Then boolean is equal to true. Like this, I gave something. Okay. Now, can I say like this? Object a1 is equal to a. Can I write like this? Yes, we can do. Object a2 is equal to object b1 is equal to b. Let's say object c1 is equal to c. Object d1 is equal to d. Object e1 is equal to e. Object f1 is equal to f. Object g1 is equal to g. Object h1 is equal to h. Like this I'll create. You see, I'm assigning the object of the byte class to the object reference of the object class, which is possible in Java because object class is either parent class or grandparent class of all the wrapper classes in Java. So this is possible. We can store any type of data into the object class. Can you store 5.5 into the byte, this particular variable object reference of the byte class? Can I store 5.5? Can I store 5.5 is? No, I cannot store. But here I can store 5, I can store 10, I can store 555, 555L, 12.34, 12.3 for any value I can store, guys. Okay, any value I can store. Okay, any value will store. Don't worry about the Selenium, Sachin. Don't worry about how the object class will be useful in Selenium, but rather understand that there is some topic in arrays that for that reason only I'm covering this wrapper class. Okay, I'm going to cover in the terms of arrays. Pending topic is there, right? Some concepts of arrays are there, right? For that, this knowledge is required. Okay, Sachin, is that okay? I'm going to cover this.
Yes, sir, fine.
Yeah, okay. So for that arrays related stuff, we are understanding the object class. So if you create an object class, you can store the object reference of any of the wrapper classes and assign them to the object reference of the object class because object is a root class or parent class of all the classes in Java. Now, if I create a variable like x, can I store 5 here? Autoboxing is happening automatically. 5 is an integer value that will be converted into the integer object and assigned to the variable of the object reference of the object class. I can store 5, no problem. Right? Can I store 5.5? Yes. 5.5 is also allowed. Can I store 12.34? Yes. Can I store 12.34F? Yes. Can I store true? Yes. Can I store false? Yes. Can I store yes? Yes. Can I store string literal? Yes. Everything can be stored, guys. Since how this is possible, how we can store different type of literals into a single object reference of the object class, because object class is the parent class of all these wrapper classes, all the data that you can store into this very object reference of the wrapper class can be stored into the object class. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Yes. Okay, this is what you have to understand about this wrapper classes and object class in Java. Okay, once you understand the wrapper classes, then you can understand about the object class, and this combination of the wrapper class and object class will be helpful for us in understanding the arrays concept now. Okay, there is one arrays concept. So guys, into a array, can we store the variables of the different data types according to the definition of the array? Can we store? What is the definition of the array? You can see here. By default, using arrays, multiple values of different data type or same data type. Same data type can be stored into a single variable or single object reference. Using arrays, multiple values of the same data type can be stored into a single variable by the default arrays. But if you declare this particular array with object class, then that will be possible. What about object arrays? What about object arrays? Can I store the values of the different data types into a single object reference? Yes. By default, arrays will not allow you to store the multiple values of the different data types. By default, arrays will store multiple values of the same data type into a single variable. But when you declare these arrays, neither as integer wrapper class array or int data type arrays or whatever it is, specific data type arrays or specific wrapper class arrays, if you are declaring the arrays with object class, okay, then it will be possible. Okay, so here other topics on arrays was left out on that day. I'm going to cover now. For this particular topic, I had to cover this wrapper classes, primitive data type and object class that I covered now. Now let me complete this. Okay, the remaining portion of the arrays, let me complete this. Arrays and different data types declaration. Okay, so here arrays demo is there. Is there any other stuff? Yeah, I'll expand this and here create a new class. Arrays and different data types. Arrays and different data types. Demo. Some random name I'm giving. Just observe here what I'm trying to do. If I create an array with integer array, AR is equal to, I can store which type of values? Integer values only. 9, 1, 5, 7. If I say 6.2, will it accept? Will it accept, guys? 6.2, will it accept? No. You see, already I'm getting a compiler error. Type mismatch cannot convert from double to int. Okay, so I cannot store decimal values here. Okay, only a group of or multiple integer values can be stored into the array of integer array type. What if I create an array like this? Integer ar2 is equal to, here also if I write like this, can I store like this? 9 comma 1 comma 5 comma 7 I can store? Yes, whether it is a primitive data type or wrapper class type. Here 9157 will be converted into the Autoboxed into the objects, converted into objects, and will be stored into the integer wrapper class type array. This is possible. This is possible, guys. But can I say 7.7 here? Can I say 7.7 here? No. Only integer objects can be stored. This 9157 are the integer objects that you are storing into the integer array, integer wrapper class array type. Similarly, if I go with double array, double AR3, I'll say AR3. Here, into the double thing, I generally store 1.2, comma 3.4, comma 5.6, comma 7.8, like that I'm storing. Is there any problem coming now? Is there any problem coming now? No problem coming. These decimal values can be stored into the double data type, so that's okay. But what if I try to store something like true? Will this be accepted? Can I store Boolean value into this? No, this is not possible. Okay. Similarly, if I write double AR of 4, same thing. You can copy paste the same thing. This is also possible. No problem. This is also possible. No problem. But here also, if I try to store Boolean value, you'll get a compiler error. Say mismatch. Type mismatch. Then what else is there? Int, generally what we use for integer numbers, we generally use int. We can use byte, short also, long also we can use, double we can use. Okay. Then we have something like char and boolean. Let's try about char boolean. Char AR 5 is equal to, in the curly braces, I'll write A, comma, B, comma, C, comma, D. Any problem? No problem. But what if I try to store this string literal? Can I store? Can I store string literal into the character array? No, this is not possible. It's of different data type. Okay. Then if I write character AR6 using wrapper class, I'm creating the arrays, guys. I'll just copy paste the same thing. Here also, when I try to store this, and if I try to store like this, is it possible? Not possible. Here also not possible. The string literal cannot be stored. Okay. Now boolean, I'll go boolean AR7 is equal to boolean AR7 is equal to true, comma false, comma false, comma true, comma false. Like this, some random values I'm storing. Can I store something like 5 here? Is it possible to store 5 here? No, that is not possible, which is of different data type. Here it can be boolean or boolean array or boolean primitive data type array, doesn't matter. I'll just give it 8. Here I'll give it 7. No matter what, the same type of values need to be stored, guys. Same type of compatible values need to be stored into this primitive data type arrays or wrapper class type arrays. But what if I want to store multiple type of values into a single object reference? I have to declare that particular thing with what? Object array. If I say AR9 here is equal to, I can store 9 here. I can store 1.5 here. I can store 2 here. I can store S here. I can store Arun Moturi here. Okay, different data types. Values of the different data types can be assigned to the object reference of the object array. Okay, different type of objects we can store, guys. Any type of data can be stored because object class is a parent class of all the wrapper classes, and all the other than wrapper class also object is either direct parent or indirect parent of all the classes in Java. Hence, if you want to store multiple values of the different data types into a single variable, array variable, then you have to declare that particular variable or object reference with which type? Which type, guys? Object array type. Everyone type in the chat box object array. Now everyone clear with object arrays? Normal arrays cannot store values of the different data types into a single variable, but object arrays will help us in storing. If there is situation where in real time, if we have to store data types of different literals into the single variable array, then that particular array variable should be declared with object class array type, because object is a parent class of all the classes in Java. Everyone clear with this concept? Just type C in the chat box if you are clear with this. If you are clear with when we have to go for object arrays, is clear for you. If you want to store different data type values into a single variable, then you have to go with object arrays. This may not come in real time, guys. This may not come easily in real time. There may be some situations you may have to do that. There will be some situations. Maybe I cannot say Selenium automation, but when you go with the data-driven framework and all, right, there we can use object arrays, because you are going to pass in Selenium automation. After Selenium automation, I'm going to teach you framework concepts, right? As part of the data-driven framework, we have to pass different type of data to another test method, something like that. While passing the data, right, we have to pass the data in the integer format, string format, different type of formats. Then instead of using a array of a particular type, we may use the object array type. Okay, since someone has asked the question, I'm explaining that. Okay, how it will be useful for Selenium. Maybe in the data-driven framework, we'll see that in useful. Okay, we'll use that in the coming days. As part of the data-driven framework, I'll show you how to use the object array for you. Okay, clear everyone? Guys, if you are clear for now, that's okay. Frameworks, don't worry about that now. How this will be useful in the coming days, I'll going to show you. Okay, but if it is clear for now, just type C in the chat box. Just type C in the chat box if it is clear for you. The object arrays. So now, the next one, if you are clear, if you don't have any questions, I can move on to the next one. Guys, object arrays is completed. Arrays and different data type declarations completed. So into the arrays, we cannot store different type of literals into a single variable, but the solution is we have the object arrays. By declaring the arrays of object class type, we can make that possible. But by default, arrays will not allow you to store multiple values of the different data type. If you still want to store multiple values of the different data types, with normal arrays, it is not possible. You have to go with the object arrays is the thing. Okay, this is one of the disadvantage of the array. The solution is object arrays. And in arrays, we can store values of the same data type. It can be integer value types into the integer array, into primitive data type array, decimal values into the double data type array, like different data type declarations also I showed you, wrapper class types I showed you, primitive data type array class types also I showed you. But if you want to store a mix of the things if you want, then you have to go with the object arrays. And the remaining portion is only this part, guys. Okay, the remaining thing is only this one, that is disadvantages of the arrays. What are the disadvantages? In that second disadvantage, the solution also I mentioned object arrays. The first disadvantage is arrays are fixed in size. Everyone type in the chat box. Arrays are fixed in size. Arrays are what in size? Arrays are fixed in size. Everyone type in the chat box. Arrays are fixed in size. Arrays are fixed in size. Okay. Everyone type in the chat box. Arrays are fixed in type. Arrays are fixed in type. Okay. Why arrays are fixed in type? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you here, guys. I'm going to create a new class and write down here. Arrays are fixed in size demo. Arrays are fixed in size demo. With main method, I'm going to create. Arrays are fixed in size. Why arrays are fixed in size? I'm going to show you. Here, I'm going to create an array, guys. Int AR is equal to new int of 3. Now, after I declare the array and create the array, and when I'm trying to initialize the array variables, AR of 0 is equal to 9, AR of 1 is equal to 5, AR of 2 is equal to 7. Now, can I say AR of 3 is equal to 1? Can I say AR of 3 is equal to 1 here in the 12th line? What will happen if I run the program? What will happen if I run this particular program? Here the size of the array is 3 only, but I'm trying to store four elements into the array. So in this 12th line, what is the problem that is going to occur? Array index out of bounds exception is going to occur. Yes, correct. Array index out of bounds exception is going to occur here, guys. Array index out of bounds exception is going to occur here. Okay. So once you fix the size for the arrays, they are fixed only. In this line 7 only, we have to decide the size of the array. After that, if you try to increase the size of the array, it is not going to happen. Is it going to happen, guys? This is not possible. This is not possible. Okay. Once the declaration and creation of the array is completed, then you cannot increase the size of the array. No matter what, you cannot increase the size of the array. Whether it can be shortcut representation or direct representation, doesn't matter. Here, we cannot increase the size of the array on the go. If I say system.out.println air of 0, okay, system.out.println air of 1, system.out.println air of 2. Okay, here 3 values I can print it out, but the ultimate thing is that here I am already trying to store 4th element into the array, and this will result in an exception known as array index out of bounds exception in the runtime. Exception in the runtime will come known as array index out of bounds exception, because the size of the array is size of the length of the array or size of the array is 3, but index 3 you are providing. That means you are trying to store 4th element. That's what it's saying. This 12th line is giving you an exception here. You see 12th line is giving an exception here. So this is the reason why arrays are fixed in size. Arrays are fixed in size. By writing the code, if you want to increase the size of the array, is it possible to increase the size of the array? Is it possible to assign the 4th element and increase the size of the array? Size of the array by doing this assignment, which is not possible. Not possible. Okay, if you try to store 4th element into the array, you are going to get array index out of bounds exception. That's the reason arrays are fixed in size. Then what is the solution? What is the solution for this particular problem in the arrays? The solution is nothing but the collections framework. Everyone type in the chat box. Collections framework is the solution for this arrays problem. In collections framework, similar to arrays, we have something known as array list, which is exact match for the arrays. This problem with arrays can be solved with the help of array list, which are flexible in size. You keep on adding the number of elements to the array list. There is no stop. You don't have to fix the size of the array. The way you don't have to fix the size of the array list. The way you have to fix the size of the arrays. Okay, you don't have to fix the size of the array list, because array lists are flexible in size. You can increase in size, decrease in size, and all those stuff. Array list is flexible in size. Okay, you don't have to fix the size of the array list, whereas you have to fix the size of the arrays. So collections framework is a concept which is a solution for this problem of the arrays. The last topic for our Java concepts will be collections framework, guys. Okay, I'm not going to cover the collections framework right now, but the last topic is going to be the collections framework. Everyone clear with the disadvantages of the arrays? Arrays are fixed in size and cannot store different type of literals into a single variable. These are the 2 disadvantages of the array. For fixed in size problem, the solution for the arrays is collections framework, whereas for storing different type of literals into a single variable, we have to use, instead of normal arrays, we have to use object arrays. Okay, so with this, guys, we are done with the arrays concept. Arrays completed, wrapper classes is completed, object class is also completed. Is everyone clear with this topics? Arrays, wrapper classes, and object classes clear? If you are clear, just type C in the chat box. Or if you have any questions, you can ask me right now about this arrays and wrapper classes. If you have any questions, you can ask me right now. Or if it is clear, just type C in the chat box. Clear. Most of the people are saying clear. Yeah, Manju. Yeah, I'll explain about the wrapper classes. But you have to talk to me. So Manju, you there?
Yes.
Yes. So Manju, you have to answer my questions here, okay, to understand about the wrapper classes. Okay. So is Java an object-oriented programming language, Manju? What do you say? Yes or no?
Yes.
It is yes. But if I ask you if it is 100% object-oriented, the answer is
No.
no. What is the reason? What is the reason why arrays are not why Java is not 100% object oriented programming language? What is the reason behind that?
I'm not known about it.
Have you not attended the session?
I think I missed the earlier.
Okay, I think you missed it here. Okay, so I explained all this. I think you can watch the recording, Manju.
Sure.
Okay, join in between.
Yeah, I think I was like 5 minutes behind.
Okay. Maybe I explained that there. So you just go through this. Okay, I already covered that in depth. So because of the primitive data types, which are byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean, right? Java is non-object oriented. Okay, not 100% object oriented. This portion of the Java is non-object oriented. Okay, And there may be some situations where you have to use this primitive data types as object-oriented types. For that, we have wrapper classes. Now clear, Manju, at a high level at least?
Got it.
Okay. To use this
Yeah.
primitive data type, non-object oriented type as object oriented whenever needed, we have to go with this wrapper classes. Okay. And parent of all the classes in Java is the object class. Like that, all the topics are connected, Manju, and that's how we come into this conclusion. Okay. Just try to watch the
Okay.
recording so that
Sure.
it will not be repeated for everyone, right? So it won't be good. Okay. Yes. Fine. So any other questions? Anyone? Anyone have any other questions? Guys, anyone have any other questions regarding this primitive data types, wrapper classes, object class? No. Okay, fine. So for this arrays and wrapper classes, we are almost done. Okay, we are done actually. For arrays and wrapper classes, we are done. Just give me a second. Okay, no questions. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay. Now we'll go to the next topic, guys. For this particular session, this is done. Okay. We'll take a small break for 5 minutes and then we'll start the next session. Okay. Be there in the meeting, guys. Okay. We'll start the next session in 5 minutes.